Yep, sunlight comes in, he turns to a puff of smoke.
Yep.
Pretty much how like Keith Richards will probably pass away. God bless
Keith
him.
Richards is never going to die. What are you talking about?
Dude, he's like Count Orlok.
Yes.
No!
What up, goons? Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies and buy plots of land in England or Germany or somewhere. Vampire Count Orlok expresses interest in a new residence and real estate agent, Hutter's wife. We're going a little bit old school. We're going back to 1922.
Yeah.
We're talking one of the first vampire, maybe the first vampire movie ever, Nosferatu, right?
You know what? Yeah, it's the first one that was really a based on Bram Stoker's Dracula. It was another vampire film before then. I forgot the name of it. It was a Hungarian film, but it wasn't aligned. It wasn't a screenplay based off of the Dracula book, the novel.
But that is today, and that is Bill Vaughan, you heard, because he's going to join us today. Bill, thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure, man.
1922. I sure didn't see this in the theater. How about you?
I was too young.
Yeah. My parents wouldn't let me go.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's try to trace that back. Yeah. So this is now over 100-year old, and it's now in public domain, by the way. So
yeah.
I wish we had clips and stuff to talk. We can do whatever the heck we want with this one. But yeah.
God, yes.
So this is a favorite of yours, correct?
Absolutely it is, man. I'll give you a little history on why it became my favorite. So when I was about 7 years old, I went to a day camp in the summer camp. And at the end of the day, you had two choices. You can go outside and play, which at that point was hot as I don't know what outside. And then, or you can go inside and watch films. So I think that it appears that some of the camp counselors were like arts people. So I'm sitting in a multi-purpose room. On the reel, here comes Nosferatu.
Love a good multi-purpose room.
Yes, can't forget the multi-purpose room. So Nosferatu comes on.
Yes.
And I was fixed.
Yeah.
Immediately because it was so. It was something I never saw before. Yeah. You know, and the character, you know, the lead character, Count Orlok.
He's not the most attractive man of all time.
Not at all. Not at all. So, so we'll get back to the looks and everything about that. So, after I saw it at one time, I always, and this is back in the day we had TV guides. We didn't have streaming video and everything else. Oh,
man, yes.
So, you know, you couldn't even find it in a store to rent on a Betamax. No. You know, it was just hard to find ever. They may have had one copy, and it's usually one of those independent video stores. They may have had it. But I would look into the TV guides all the time to see when is it's going to come this week. Yes. And the only time it'll play is usually a midnight movie, like sometime late at night on the UHF channels.
That is how I saw The Shining for the first time when I was a kid. Oh, wow. I was watching it late at night, like the ABC late night movie or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have the channel stuff, so I had to go and find the TV guide the next morning and read it to see what the movie I had watched was. Yes. Oh, I love it.
So
I love it.
So here I am at like 10, 12, 13, 14 years old, sitting up past midnight watching, what was it, Channel 20?
Yep.
To watch this movie in the dark.
Yes.
You know, which was the best, man. So, you know, it struck me. Yeah. In so many different ways, man. So yeah, one of my favorite movies.
What I think is so important it's that movie for a while, like on Halloween night, back when channels showed like movies on Halloween, which they don't do anymore. But I remember PBS. It's one of those movies that was so we talk about the iconography. It was so iconic that it was like on Halloween, this movie or like Night of the Living Dead would be the movie like PBS or something would play, right?
Yeah.
That would be what they played to honor, like, you know, oh, it's Halloween. Like that was just what it was. It was so like just, you know, legendary, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And see, my mother was a huge fan of horror movies, you know, when I was growing up. So I've always, you name it, I've watched it. You know, we watch it together sometimes. But it was the black and white.
Mm-hmm.
That always got me to the black and white films, always the best for me. But what was unusual about this film, as scary as it was for me back then, there was very minimal blood in this movie.
Oh, there's none.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that there's like I don't even remember except for the one
The scene
time
where he
when Hutter cut
bites
his
his
thumb.
finger.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then, oh,
that's
that's a
it.
whole other. So yeah,
But
so
look how many. I mean, oh my God, look how many amazing. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, despite the name, and Halloween are
exactly
two amazing, and they have almost no. There's
no
almost
blood.
no blood in those movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
gore doesn't always sell. So in this particular
Oh,
movie, which is it was supposed to be set place with 1838, I think. The scenery
I
in
forget.
a made up town was Wisburg or something like that. Wisborg,
Weisberg or something like
Weisborg,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
Germantown. Yeah, so those there's slight differences, right?
Yeah,
Where and I just actually rewatched the version where it's not the Harkers, it's the Hutters, right? Or
yeah,
no, sorry, opposite.
the
It's
opposite.
the
Yeah,
Harkers, not the Hutters.
yeah,
And so the novel doesn't have the other Quincy and folks like that in it. It doesn't have Van Helsing being the science whatever he is, and yeah, it's not in England, it's in Germany, right? So.
yeah.
And that's so I just wrote an article on my monthly review, shameless promotion, hilltopvideos.com, read the reviews, on the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And I just wrote that one. And that was an old 1921 German expressionist film. So this is good that we're tying these like kind of together.
Yeah, absolutely,
That German
absolutely.
expressionist thing was a thing. That was a big thing
That was
around this
it
time.
followed World War One. It was a
That's right.
thing that happened after World
That's
War
right.
One. I think. Which
That's
notes
right.
I had for was part of several related creative movements in Germany before the First World War that reached its peak in Berlin during the 1920s.
That's right.
These developments were much larger part of an expressionist movement in North and Central Europe culture and fields such as architecture, dance, yada, yada, yada. It emphasized the artist's inner emotions rather than attempting to replicate reality.
Yes, that I couldn't have
And
said
I think
that
that's the
better.
important piece. You have
That's
to
right. That's
understand
right.
that part right there. It says everything. So it said rejected cinematic realism and use visual distortions, hyper expressive performances to reflect inner conflicts.
Now, Nosferatu doesn't do as much as Caligari does. That was,
Yeah,
totally expressionist. That was like the
exactly.
epitome of it. But it's that same vein. It's that same time, right? So, anyone that hasn't seen it, though, like we should probably explain quickly what this film is about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So this film, the story takes place in 1838, mythical town in Germany. So essentially, now this whole movie parallels is an adaptation of Dracula, unofficial adaptation of Dracula. We'll get to that later, the legal implications of that and how it affected the release of the film. But
Bram's
it's
1890. So I'm curious though about one
Mhm.
thing. And this doesn't matter, obviously,
Yeah,
but it's interesting that Bram Stoker wrote and released Dracula in 1897. Correct? That was the right
yeah.
year. I think it's pretty cool and interesting that they set this like 50 some odd years beforehand.
Before then,
More than
yeah.
that. That's pretty interesting. So yeah,
I think it may have been a way to
it
really
doesn't matter what
set the
year it
movie
was.
apart a little bit
Yeah.
because there's so much about this film that is Dracula all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the Harkers, you have the Hutters.
The Hutters.
The Hutters. That's a
Yes.
strange name, but it
Hey.
is what it is. So the lead character, not the lead character, but the guy instead of Harker, you have Thomas Hutter. He's a real estate agent who's been tasked by his boss to go to Transylvania and meet Count Orlok.
Please send me.
Yeah, well, no. Well, if you remember the movie, how his boss looked, the first thing he knows is hairy eyebrows.
Yeah,
He
that's
was a
fair.
little on the kooky side.
I
So,
just want excuses to go back to Transylvania. That's all.
so Count Orlok was interested in property in their small town.
Mm-hmm.
So blah 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 blah. He goes to Transylvania. When he arrives in Transylvania, he goes to an inn, and this inn,
Yeah.
he has a drink, and then he shouts out loud something like, "I need to see Count Orlok," and everybody just got into a little tizzy. I mean, and the movie looked like he may have like ripped a strong one in the room, and everybody kind of stared at him.
He
Right?
might have.
That too. Then, I mean, I think saying that was enough. But one of the locals told him, "Hey, the werewolves out tonight. You might not want to go out, so just stay with us."
What did he say? You're in the land of phantoms?
Land of ghosts.
Yeah, and then they have he rides up on the horse and they say, well, "That's it. We can't go any further than this.
We can't go any further.
We're in the land of phantoms."
So
yeah,
we got to cut you off right here. So
I remember in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 1992 film, the Coppola film, which I am just absolutely in love with.
I love that movie, and I love his techniques in it because he used a lot of old techniques.
That episode that we did was amazing. I love that film. I just remember thinking though, that scene when the coach comes and leaves them out there. Yeah. I remember thinking when I went to Transylvania years ago, I remember thinking, can this please be the way that they pick us up in some random evil stagecoach? Sadly, we use cars instead. But I remember thinking that, but again, I said this before, but this deal, like phantoms and ghosts and evil spirits, this stuff is not made up in Romania. It's real. This is real.
It's a big
stuff.
Part of culture.
They believe this stuff.
Yes.
And if you drive, we took the train to Transylvania, and it was just like the film. It was amazing. But when you get out there further out into these little villages, dude, do not be surprised if they're burning people's ashes and stuff because they legitimately think someone's going to come back and haunt them. This is not made up. It's not made up. It's not.
Wow. So yeah, he finally gets to the castle, to Count Orlok's castle, and they have dinner. So as he's eating dinner, cuts the bread, slices his hand, slices his thumb, and Orlok goes crazy, chasing him after his thumb to suck his blood, right? So that would keep me off the coach because I'm not running around somebody's house while they're trying to suck my thumb.
I'm out.
None of that. So after that, they want to go where they had drinks or something by the fireplace, which is even weirder that he wants to suck your thumb, you have drinks by the fireplace with him.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he found 2 puncture holes in his neck. Chalked it up to the mosquitoes. All right, that's cool. Yeah, that's a huge mosquito. They kind of parallel, right? So, all right. Let's see. So they end up signing the paperwork for the purchase, and then Orlok notices a picture.
What does he say in that? What does the subtitle say? Mansion seems like a fine property. I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds great.
He saw the picture of Hawker's wife.
Oh,
it was going berserk.
What does the line say?
Your wife has a beautiful neck or something. You chased me to suck my thumb. Then you talk about wife's neck.
Yeah.
So
I have to go now.
Okay, so that's the other part. I don't understand why Hutter didn't leave anytime before that. So Hawker goes back to bed and he started reading that book that he got from the inn about vampires.
Yeah, can I have that book?
It was like book. Something in Deadly Sins, 7 Sins. I forgot the exact name of the
7
book.
7 Signs of Vampire. Yeah, I want to get that book.
Yeah. So around midnight, it was the same night or night after. I forgot. Go back. But around midnight, Hutter realizes he can't lock the door. The door just is what it is. So he found protection under the blanket for some reason. Don't know why. He's huddled up like he's really scared. I guess that thumb suck is real. Yeah. So in comes, Orlok. Now at this point, Hut is
door
passed
just
out.
Opens by itself, and he just has long ass fingernails and.
Dude, okay, so that's part of the imagery that we can talk about that after we go through this part, man, because that's a huge part of this movie.
Yep.
So he see. So the next day he wakes up and he wanders around and notices Orlok is packing up the caskets, a bunch of caskets,
all the dirt.
All the dirt. He throws himself in the top one, and the stop motion. We'll talk about that later as well. We'll talk about the production side of it.
Rats and crap.
Exactly. So he realizes what's going on. So he tries his best to get home as quickly as possible.
As would I.
I'm trying to cut down through the details. I don't want to go too far into the details. So Orlok rented a boat, I guess, a schooner.
The Demeter.
Yes, which was a new movie.
Dude, so I have always been intrigued by that part of the story, and I'm glad I'm not alone on that because
no.
The parts in Bram Stoker's the Coppola film are creepy, right?
Yeah.
He does a really good job of kind of getting into it, but not really. Yeah. And now they realize, we can do something with
dedicate
this.
a whole film to this.
Yes, the last voyage of the Demeter.
The Last Demeter, Yep.
I want to see this film.
I'm definitely going to see that film. Definitely want to see it. Because I've always been waiting for that to open up.
I want to know what happened on that boat. Oh man,
exactly. So the boat gets loaded up, goes to sea. Eventually, all the people started dying. On the boat. All the crew died on the boat. Somebody found one of the coffins, so it was rats all in the coffin. So and we'll go back to the meaning of the rats and how like pandemic and plagues and all that played a big role in this movie as well. So when following, so here's the funny part. So when Orlok gets to town, dude just walks off the boat carrying a coffin.
Yeah, he does. I love it.
So I got a couple questions here. Are you that strong to carry a coffin? And
what are you doing?
And why were there no Karens out there to stop him?
Nah, there's nobody's. I remember watching the other day and thinking to myself, that dude is just, he's just walking around with a coffin. Yeah.
Yes. Like it's nothing.
No one seems to care.
Like a bag of groceries for him. He's just kind of carrying, just walking through, strutting through town and stuff. I'm like, all right,
if I saw somebody doing that, I'd have a lot of, I would stay away from them.
Yes.
But I'd have a lot of questions.
Yes.
But I wouldn't go near them.
Exactly. The plague
he can carry it because he's a vampire. He can carry anything. It doesn't matter. He's super
and it's almost about 3 feet long, you know, easily.
It's all
4
good.
feet long, if anything. Yeah. So I mean, I can see that doing that. So so the town's going into this whole plague thing now because you have people that are dying after Orlok's arrival, and they blame it on the rats that came in off the boat. And there was a log on the boat that they read about the rats and everybody got sick on the boat and stuff like that. So they shut everything down. You know, this is like 2020 all over again.
Yeah, right.
So when what's the name? When Thomas arrives, he has a book with him, I guess, because Ellen finds the book and reads about it.
Right.
And then she found out, you know, because she was already leery of him going anyway.
So remember, of course. Remember, and of course, you know, the whole psychic connection they have.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that part.
When she has that, you know, night walk, in the middle of the night, she has a sleepwalking deal where she's walking around, but she's able to communicate with him while he's over in Transylvania. And, you know, the doctors don't know what the heck's going on and everything like that. That was an interesting part of it too, right?
Yeah. It was more interesting. She walked on her toes the whole time.
How about that? People do some weird crap when they're sleepwalking, man.
So her friend caught her and got her down before she fell over.
Right.
You know, but it's amazing because as Thomas was passing out, you know, she was waking up.
Yeah.
Like what's going on? What's going on?
Right.
So
right.
And it's something about Ellen I'll discuss after if we're going through this.
And that's interesting too because you look at both those Caligari and this, both have that sleepwalking attribute to them, right? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Never really thought about that. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But you know, I think sleepwalking was probably like a mysterious thing for folks. I mean, there was no real medical reason somebody could describe why it's happening.
Weird, I guess. Right?
It is weird. I have a cousin that sleepwalk. You just can't touch him.
Yeah, it's scary.
He'll beat the life out of you.
Yeah, whoop your ass. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So you know, when I see him sleepwalk, I just go the other way.
Make sure he doesn't fall down some stairs, and you'll be all right.
That's it. Let me see. Let me fast forward over to. Let's see. So Orlok buys a place that's across the street.
Yep.
From the Hutter's house.
Time to move.
Basically. So she can look out the window. He's just sitting there peeping like a Tom at her the whole time, right?
All kinds of scary.
Exactly. So she ended up reading that book that about the vampires and found out that it could be, you know, they could be destroyed basically at the
what did it
crow
say?
of the cock. Something the crow of the cock.
Yes. Which, when of course, you know, with my maturity level, when I'm watching
exactly.
that, I'm laughing the entire time.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. But then she reads that one thing saying, "What the only way to stop him is someone pure of heart or something." Was that right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So she plots to sacrifice herself to save the town.
Yes.
And because she lives across, and because Orlok is a peeping Tom, she lured him to come over to her place. Like, hey, boy.
Well, yeah, remember, you have to invite vampires in. They say, right?
You do.
Right.
Because they can't come any other way.
That's right.
But what she also did was she was, you know, showing symptoms of being sick or just maybe faking whatever, and she had her husband go fetch the physician, the doctor, to come and get her. And of course, you just can't, you know, chat your doctor up. You know, you got to physically go and get the doctor. Yeah. So as that's happening, that's when Orlok comes over. That's just planned so she had that space of time. Orlok comes over at the right time where he begins to drain her blood, but then all of a sudden, you hear the coo, 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 coo. You know, The Crow of the Cock.
That's
so,
right.
I had to watch it all the way through to understand what it was.
Right.
So,
right.
so what happens is Orlok ends up, going to the window and just disappears
sunlight comes in. Yep.
Yep. Sunlight comes in. He turns to a puff of smoke.
Yep.
Pretty much how like Keith Richards will probably pass away. God bless him.
Keith Richards is never going to die. What are you talking about?
Dude, he's like Count Orlok.
Yes.
Jack Daniels is his blood.
He looks like him also, and wow.
You see that man's hands? Good God.
I don't really want to.
You don't want to, but look it up and you'll see. Yeah, he has Nosferatu hands, so there may be some connection there. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So Thomas arrives just in time to give his wife a goodbye kiss, and the movie's over. There are a couple parts in between. I didn't want to give you a full detail of everything.
So you know what? The thing that's important at that though is, was this the first? Okay, well, I guess the thing about this movie is it's the first of a lot of things, right? So it's kind of I don't need to keep saying the first, but he dies, right? Like the whole story before was the vampires don't like sun, but this dude just straight up sunlight came in and he was done. He was done.
I mean, right? he was so enamored with Ellen.
Yeah,
I guess he went all out with that one.
Right. Yeah. So the sun finally, now when you watch a vampire movie, these dudes burst into flames when the sun hits them, right? So that's pretty interesting. So I mean, I saw a review from somebody, maybe Roger Ebert or someone like that, saying, it's just so iconic and it's not so much scary. It's not so much a scary movie, but it haunts us was a good word he said for it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, because like we talk about him, right? Max Schreck played, that was the actor's name, which ironically, isn't that the name of the character that Christopher Walken plays in Batman Returns? Isn't it Max Schreck? I swear. That's for another time, maybe.
That's another time. Right? But some of these names have survived throughout.
I just Batman Returns is so good. But Max Schreck plays Count Orlok. Yeah. And to my knowledge, he got into this character like crazy. Like, he's really going to play this dude for real. And he, like, people didn't want to go near him. Like, he's terrifying, right? That dude is so creepy looking. He's so scary. He looks totally inhuman, right?
Yeah.
With these super long arms, these nasty fingernails, and these long. Oh man, right.
But see, I think the other part that made the movie that much more creepy is that they allowed the scenes to play out. There were no jump scares in this movie.
No, that's not.
So it's like all the horror scenes just kind of stretched.
Yeah.
It kind of held a certain tension that had you watching the entire time.
Yes.
And then also just this is going to the production of it, just the shadowing that they used some of the shots.
So I have in my office, right on this wall here, I have a small little 8x10 print of what I think, I'm glad you mentioned this, what I find one of the most famous images in horror, which is the scene of the staircase and the banister. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And him walking up the stairs and
all you see is the claws.
Yes,
and his body, his claws coming out.
That is, and it's just the shadow of the banister and him. It's not him.
Yeah,
that is one of the most famous scenes in horror, as far as I'm concerned. Any documentary you watch on the history of horror films or anything they talk about it, I guarantee you, in the first 30 seconds, that is one of the images, if not even sooner, you are going to see. That is one of the it is one of the all-time images. And the one of him when he comes up from feeding her and you see his eyes.
Yes.
Those two.
So here's the thing, man. Like Max Schreck, the one who played Count Orlok, was so into that character. So deeply the character. I think it's noted that he only blinked once.
That's like
on screen,
like Anthony Hopkins when he played Lecter, right? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I find that amazing. And then his, the height and everything else. Of course, the makeup.
So was he really tall, or was that just there was forced perspective, or they didn't shoot other people? I don't know about that.
That's a good question, but he looked real lanky though. It looked like his legs were really long and lanky, so he must have been super thin or something to get that.
Yes.
Yeah. So Max Schreck, didn't he die relatively young?
I think back then everyone died relatively young.
That's just mean. But
I mean, I don't think people lived. I don't know. He was born in 1850 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. For sure.
Maybe not that early, but
let's see. Max Schreck. Let me look. I
don't know. You know what? My
He
point
was
with life
56. No, he lived this. He was 56.
life
That's back
expectancy
then.
just wasn't
Yeah,
very long. No, it wasn't very. That
he
is
lived.
pretty young.
Yeah, he well 56. That's like 100 back then. So
That's true.
you know. So his death was
I don't know. Yeah, how did he die?
He said he felt
I don't even
unwell,
know.
and the doctor sent him to the hospital where he died the next morning of a heart attack.
Oh wow. Damn.
Yeah. So,
Yeesh.
but people thought he was actually a vampire, though.
I mean, you know what? He looks like. I mean, he's very scary in this movie. I don't like
Yeah. So here's the thing, though, too, about his character and the makeup is that there's also some controversy regarding like anti-Semitism because
very much.
because Nosferatu looks a lot. No, not Nosferatu. I'm sorry, Count Orlok looks a lot like some of the propaganda, the German propaganda for Nazis.
Yep.
Back then of
that
Jews.
is a huge piece of this that I think people. That's that's very interesting.
But the thing is, like,
and the rats,
name?
Right?
Yeah, and the rats, exactly. So, but the thing is, what was it? Murnau, wasn't he Jewish?
F.W. Murnau. I do not know if he was.
I'm thinking he was. Either he was or somebody else was. On the whole crew was Jewish.
Okay.
And also, I know, I think Murnau was actually gay.
Oh, yes, I did hear that. That is true.
So he was gay. So, and then yet a lot of the cast members were left wingers as well. So
it's so interesting to think about the party of that because this is a situation. It's a German film. Okay, it's after World War I, right?
Yeah.
Hitler has not come to power yet. He is, he's kind of just a person of interest. You might want to say, I don't know what he was doing at the time. He was very angry about the end of the World War, and he was kind of just coming around, right? So this stuff is so, it's such a long time ago, right? But the whole piece of it, the persecution, of Jews here, and the plague with the rats, and saying, oh, it's just like Jewish people, they're just the rats and all this stuff.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at some of the propaganda, art, anything less than the German prototype, the Aryan, they looked at everybody, all the quote unquote minorities, as in a ratty kind of look, which is why you look at it. So, going back into the character again of Count Orlok. Like, people think of vampires, they think of bats, when he was more associated with a rat. You look at his face, everything's so rat-like.
You know what? That's the thing that, we look at the vampire now, you think of like Gary Oldman from Bram Stoker. He's the, charming, handsome, Victorian count who woos every woman. But like in like Romania and like Hungary, places like that, a vampire is a disgusting undead zombie. It's a corpse, basically.
Exactly.
Right. That's what it was.
It wasn't until like Bela Lugosi redeveloped that whole look of it.
Yes.
Because the vampire was looked at as a plague giver.
He's not Blackula going to the restaurant ordering a Bloody Mary.
Exactly. Exactly. Not that refined.
No, he's not. He's not refined. No, he's a disgusting undead monster. That's what a vampire to this day. I mean, honestly, it really, is. It's not these guys that look like this. It's not.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So going back to F.W. Murnau, he this is only his third film. So his film history was not that great in terms of like having a bunch of movies behind him to create something like this. And where I give him a lot of credit is that Nosferatu was such an innovative film because it was the first film that kind of used some of these different techniques, and it was just like the first, again, vampire movie that's based on Dracula. Yeah, adaptation of Dracula. He died young.
Did he?
He died. Yeah, he died at 42.
Oh my God, I've lived longer than that guy.
Dude, he died on the Pacific Coast Highway.
Really?
They got into an accident. Yeah, he was a passenger in the car.
Oh crap! I did not hear this. Wow.
Yeah. Well, here's even crazier. In 2015, at his grave, because they shipped him back out to Germany. At his grave, it was robbed.
Really?
They took his skull.
What?
And they found like wax residue, around the area. So you think it may have been some sort of ritual or somebody.
Oh yeah.
And they still have yet to find the skull.
Wow. I gotta look that up though. That's wild.
Yeah. Now, and remember, like, of course he's a character in Shadow Vampire, which is a whole nother movie. Which
that
actually,
movie, I have not seen it since it was released 20 years. I remember
yeah,
watching it. It was weird. Like Willem Dafoe is amazing. He's a great actor, but I
yeah.
don't know that I've got to see this movie again. I think though.
I mean, it's a very dark comedy in a
Yes, that's
sense,
really
like
what it is,
super
kind
dark
of, right?
comedy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but also, I don't know if you remember because you're an American Horror Story fan. Is that
Oh, yeah.
remember in was it Hotel? He was mentioned in Hotel.
Was
His
he?
name was mentioned Hotel because he was said to have given Rudolph Valentino turned him to a
Really?
vampire, and was Natasha Rambova turned them into
Really?
vampires to make them young, forever
I don't
young.
remember that. Okay.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
one of
so,
that was probably maybe the best season was Hotel
yeah. That
on
was
that
I
show.
mean,
Now that's a
everything about
topic,
it was
folks.
good.
If you guys
That's a
want to hear
whole
that, I
dude.
would love to
That's a
do
great
an
topic.
episode or
Yes.
two on that program, that
Woo, I
show.
want to do the one with all the serial killers come together in one
Yeah,
event
yeah,
when they
they
all
just have
had
like
dinner.
dinner. They're just hanging
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
I'm in.
Criticizing each other.
Pretty much. I'm in. I'll watch it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but you know what? I also thought about his look. You've seen Salem's Lot, right? The
Yeah,
old
yeah,
1979.
exactly.
I mean, that looks exactly like him, right?
Yes, yeah. It was a
Yes.
straight jack. It was a straight jack.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is absolutely Count Orlok. Oh my god.
Yes, yes. I mean, there's been always, and there's been several like Nosferatu films, like things
Okay,
with the
there's a
name.
1979 film, right? I have never seen this.
Yeah, I
And
haven't seen it either.
I don't know anything about it, quite frankly. Is it basically just a remake?
It's
I'm
it's a remake, but what makes it different is that because I've
like I
seen
know
I've
nothing.
seen an overview of it. I didn't see it all the way through yet.
Yeah, I don't know
Because I was
anything
trying to
about
watch before this, kind of do a good comparison between the two. Is that he's more human now? You know,
it. Okay.
he's the one that it seems like he's dealing with the fact that he's going to be living forever, and everybody else
Mm,
will pass around him. He can't find love, all this other stuff. You know, a
right.
little romanticized in certain places.
Making him. I don't care about that. I don't,
Well, that's the point. That's the point, man. It's like you can't really change that
It's
whole
like it's like
redo it without
Michael.
redoing it.
It's like some of the Halloween with Michael Myers, and they try to release backstories. I don't know. I don't want him to be human. He's just pure evil. I don't need to know
Yeah,
that. Right.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't need to
yeah.
know that.
But you also had with the AMC had a show called Nosferatu. I
Yes.
saw 2 episodes because I don't watch much TV like on a schedule. Only
Was
saw
that
2 episodes.
written? Was that a book or a story written by Stephen King's son?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think it was. I may be way
Okay.
off on this, but I feel like it was.
Okay.
I need to check on that. But that might anyway. Yeah,
Anyway.
that was not really, that was loosely whatever on this, I guess. But
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, there's a couple other movies that mentions. You can probably Google it yourself. Different shows and movies where
mhm.
Nosferatu, even SpongeBob SquarePants mentions Nosferatu. You know, the book Nosferatu.
So that's
I mean, the movie.
one thing too, is that so the word Nosferatu, it's I don't think it's really an actual word they say.
No, it's not. Yeah.
It's kind of a made up word. It's kind of
It's
found
like
its way. It's like a word for evil spirit, I guess, right? Whatever. Like
Yeah.
the strigoi is a real like evil spirit word.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Nosferatu, I mean, it's a cool name. I like it. But I think that here's a good one for you too. People that watch Friends out there, if you remember that character Phoebe, she had a twin sister, and she was a porno actress. And she was in a porno called Nosferatu. Yeah. So it's definitely made its way around, like pop culture, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing, again, giving credit back to the making of the film. Now, keep in mind that again, that was when I was third film, and it was also the production company. That was their first and only film. Was it what's the name of the company? Pana.
I couldn't
What's
tell
the
you
name
that.
of the production company? Prana Films.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only film they produced.
That's it. All right.
Yeah. So what really knocked them out was, of course, the lawsuit, the trademark
so
infringement.
that's huge. We probably shouldn't even be sitting here talking about this movie right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. But but it's all public domain now. Everything's public domain at this point. Even Nosferatu is.
I guess I meant in the fact that they sued them and they tried to destroy the copy, right?
But it seemed like they apparently destroyed. Yeah, they apparently destroyed all the copies that were there. But then, of course, other copies have been shipped out, to the U.S. and then from there
Right.
duplicated off of that. That's why I said I
So
wish there was an original. Yeah, yeah.
I just think that's crazy that we could not even be talking about this right now because we never even seen it, right?
Yeah.
And that to me, like, I can't even imagine like being so careful with having to work with that actual reel of film. Oh my God, that would freak me out, man. Trying to cut that together. I wonder, does an original reel live somewhere hidden away in a basement somewhere? I don't know, man.
So here's the thing, man. Just film, just like audio tape, man. It's so volatile.
Well, it's more flammable than anything.
Anything,
Nitrite inside
exactly.
of film. It literally is one of the most flammable objects on the planet. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then also, I don't know if film does the same thing like with audio tape where it sticks, everything sticks together. Because at least with audio tape, you can do what we call baking. You can just put the reel inside the oven, let it bake a little bit. It'll start to separate the glue. But yeah, man, that's crazy. If you had the only copy of this work,
that is a good research time. Anybody out there knows? I'm gonna start looking that up and see if there is like the original reel. Well, no one really knows what the original one is, but it lives somewhere, right?
Could be the Library of Congress for all we know.
I don't. Yeah, Museum of Modern Art does those a lot, where they kind of find the film, culturally, aesthetically significant, and they, add it to their collection or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But because it's a German film, they wouldn't do that. Not here, at least.
Yeah.
It might be part of European cinema. That's a good question. I feel like I would know that, but
it could be.
But yeah, that is. I mean, yeah, that's so crazy. They try to get. Yeah. So what? The Stoker family sued the production. Is that what happened?
Stoker's wife was in hot pursuit of everything about that film because it was unauthorized, and it's a complete adaptation. There's so many parallels to that movie and Dracula, the novel. It is undeniable. So, and I mean, because she didn't want to give any release on it to become a film.
No,
which I don't understand, but
well,
yeah. But here's another interesting fact: it's been reported that the release party, of this film would cost more than the actual film itself.
Is that right?
It was a masquerade ball that happened afterwards. A whole bunch of stuff.
That would be amazing to go a Roaring 20s masquerade ball for this.
Yeah, exactly.
I would go.
Oh my God! It had somebody look like Nosferatu scaring the life out of everybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't care for that. He probably showed up looking like that to the party. Long fingernails.
So here's the thing. So going back to the techniques of the film, like some of the film techniques, certain things that I noticed, and I'm sure I know you noticed it all. Just like with the stop action, kind of the make every scene that you see Orlok in sped up. Like when he's putting the coffins up, he put the coffins up in no time. When he had his carriage, when he was, riding his carriage
when he rises up out of the
Yes. It's like, and when he closes everything up, it's amazing. So that was, I'm not gonna say it was a first, but it was a good way of using limited resources to create something like that.
Yeah.
The night scenes.
That's what's so great about, I keep mentioning it, but Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola, where he employed all those old-fashioned
exactly
practical techniques because he wanted to be like authentic. Now it's just so cool.
I mean, Coppola does a lot of that stuff. I don't mean to sidetrack. I was watching
cool.
I was watching Cotton Club the other day, and one scene where they were in the bedroom talking, and it was raining outside. They used the old light reel with the rain coming down for the rain, and he could have done it better if he wanted to.
No, do it that way.
Kept it authentic for that particular time when films were made.
The thing that blows my mind was when he did Dracula. There's that one scene where you'll notice it's a crane shot jib shot coming down to the streets of London. It's only like 5 seconds long.
Yeah,
but it's all jittery and all old, and those aren't effects. That dude bought a 1900s camera and got it to work and loaded film and shot that scene with it.
You gotta be kidding me! Seriously?
Yes. No, he did that. He really did
that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: the shots they did with the boat, with the schooner that was carrying the body,
miniatures.
It looked like it was a full shot, but it was a great looking shot though because there was no movement on the boat. Wherever the camera was, there was no movement. It kind of tracked the whole time going past.
I mean, one of the rules they tell you is never shoot on a boat, right? That's one of the number 3 things not to do. I don't know how they did a lot of that stuff because you know what though, honestly, techniques are still all similar. Camera support, tripod, and we still use the same things. We just don't use, film necessarily anymore. But I don't know a lot of the stuff how they did this, but
It's amazing.
Whatever,
man.
yeah. The cranking and the frame rate back then is so different, and everyone is
Yeah.
overacting so much, and
Yeah.
the overexposed shots, the scenes where they're
Yeah.
so blasted and they're so white and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But it's cool, right?
I mean, it's cool, but think about the
Yeah.
work they did with it, though. I was reading one story how when they went on location, how it was difficult. They did everything to get that one shot outside.
Now they shot it in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, in some of the like the castles and all that still exists.
Yeah.
Still there.
I would love to go see that.
Dude, they may have an Airbnb there for you, so you might be able to rent it.
Let's go.
No, it's all fun and games, so you can't get a Wi-Fi signal in an old dusty castle.
Hey, you got to be like nowadays, where you take an Uber to Dracula's castle, like I did. That's kind of how it is these days.
Then what do you eat when you're over there? You freaking get Uber Eats. You can't get Uber Eats out there, nothing like that.
Drink
man.
blood.
So, yeah.
You drink blood. No, man. You go to the small town. You have a. I had a chicken sandwich, and they had French fries in the sandwich.
Chicken sandwich like the universal sandwich. You find a chicken sandwich everywhere.
The dude was like, he spoke a little bit of English and was like, fries, and I was like, yeah, and he put them in the sandwich, and I thought, okay,
I do that anyway, though. I do that anyway.
Yeah, it works for me.
Yeah,
that's what you eat there. Yeah.
So here's the other thing too, man. All these shots, a lot of these shots were filmed at, the night shots were filmed during the day. If you look at
I'm glad you mentioned that because thank you for saying that, because some of those shots, they were very not discouraging, but they kind of messed you up, right? Because it was supposed to be nighttime, but it is clearly not
daytime.
This is not working for me. This is not. This is not working. Yeah, and then I noticed that.
Another thing I noticed too was the use of filters. I'm curious to see if filters are used on the final copy of Nosferatu. Sometimes you get a blue filter, the sepia filter, stuff like that. And I'm not sure.
I don't know. That had to have been done on lenses. I can't imagine. Editing was just so basic. I mean, it was really just cut, stamp. I mean, I can't imagine there had been many effects back then. So I don't know.
And I guess my bigger question is, what did the colors represent through the different filters they used?
Yeah.
And remember that one shot when he did the negative with Orlok's carriage coach.
Yep.
They went through the woods, and all of a sudden they used a film negative, for the shot.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Right?
I mean, that gave more frightening look, more nighttime look than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, so the good thing about this film is that they used, a lot of techniques that may not have been used before, and it almost sets the precedence of how scary movies should be, Dracula movies should be, because even most Dracula films don't have as many jump scares. It's always like a slow kind of move into everything.
Well, it's atmosphere, or something like that, or because the ones like this, they're all faithful to be set back in that time frame, right?
Yeah.
The actual adaptations. Vampire movies can be whatever the hell they want, but like an actual like you said, like Bram Stoker's 1897 novel. This is what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it follows it, pretty well. Like my favorite is, the Coppola. I know it's not totally accurate, obviously, but you can't be perfectly. You got to have, things that aren't going to be right. But
yeah. Here's one thing that I was running. It came to mind when I watched the film again recently. Is at the end of the day, the hero of this movie was Ellen.
Yes, that's right.
Very rare to have most time the women were the damsels in distress.
The damsel tied to the train tracks, right?
Yes, but she was the one that actually stepped up.
Yeah,
she actually she sacrificed herself to save everybody else.
Yeah, she did. That's pretty accurate.
I mean, it's pretty. It's unusual back then. So I don't, from a feminist perspective, that's kind of like a.
You'd want to say she's the original final girl, but of course she dies, so you can't.
Of course she does.
But it's pretty close. Yeah, she's a huge part of this. She's most of the story, right? Because she is the object of this supernatural counts, whatever. So she's a huge thing in this. Yeah, that is pretty interesting.
Because remember, even from the beginning, she didn't want him to go on his trip. So she always had a certain emotion about a certain feeling about him going on his trip. So, but like I said, she stepped up and imagine this dude creeping at you, looking at the window, and then you invite him over to your place.
Yeah, he is quite scary, and they did such a good job with that. And I mean, like I said, so the iconography of this film is, it is what it is, right? It
Yeah.
is, that is, like I said, it's one of the most famous looking scenes. Those two moments, that image of him climbing the stairs with the claws, and the shot of him raising his head after he's feeding on her,
Yeah.
and just he has that crazy hat that he wears, right?
Yes. Yes.
Those scenes, that is horror cinema, right? That is like the
Yeah.
first thing you'll ever see. Like I said, in any documentary, that is one of the first images you're going to see. That is just
No, absolutely.
that, or the shark from Jaws or something, right? Like those are two of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah, it's again like that review. Like I feel like it's not necessarily scary. He doesn't scare us, but he haunts us. Like the images in the film haunt us of it, right?
That's a good way of saying it. And that's how it haunted me most of our life, which was oddly attracted me to always want to watch it. Because nothing else moved me in the same way that this movie has moved me growing up.
Yeah. And that is cool. Like I said, how PBS, of all the channels, I mean, they make great programming. That I remember watching it when I was a kid. It would be on, or Night of the Living Dead. That's pretty cool for a channel with their respect and the clout like PBS has to pick this film. We're going to show this film, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because let's be honest, dude. Some folks can't sit through subtitles. They just can't do it. Their imagination doesn't work, and they can't think of it themselves, and they can't watch that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can't watch it, you can't watch this movie. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Exactly.
So
yeah. The other thing I found amazing though, man, was that you're looking at this film and you're looking at scenes like because they did a lot of surround, did a lot of shots of everything around the town and stuff like that. That's 100 years ago, man.
I know. It's insane. I know.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? And you start to like go and like look up, the actors and stuff like on Wiki, and it's even crazier to see like when these folks were born.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like 1870 something.
Exactly.
These people are born, and like 1880. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's
unbelievable. But that is amazing that we've been making movies this long, and like I said, the techniques are still kind of there. That's so cool, right? That's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. But I will say, anybody who's watching, if you get a chance, see if any theater is showing it outside with the orchestra and things like that.
Talk about that. That's amazing.
So it's amazing because so a lot of times because this was released during silent movie era, of course, the music before you had recorded music to play back, you would have somebody playing music. So the variations of what the original film score sounded like, the music written there is music written for the actual movie itself.
Right.
But to go out and see it outside on a blanket, big screen, and you hear the orchestra playing, it's just a whole other feeling, man.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
I have not. I went to something really cool a year or two ago where they went to this orchestra and they played like these Halloween themed songs with an orchestra, like the Halloween theme, Friday the 13th, the Tubular Bells from The Exorcist.
Yeah.
But that was just live watching them. I wasn't watching like a movie with it. That must be amazing.
I mean, the atmosphere outside because you're just in the dark.
Oh my goodness!
Just looking at the screen and the live music it just sets it apart. So they also did that for Get Out. I didn't get to see the Get Out when they did it.
Oh wow!
Get Out. I would love to see that as well because that soundtrack was equally.
How about Jaws? How would you like to be in person listening to them do Jaws?
Dude,
wouldn't that be
don't
something?
Get me started. Yes.
Oh,
but I highly recommend it. Just look around town in your local town to see if somebody's doing something like this. Especially now that the movie is 100% into the public domain. There's no problem anybody playing it back.
And that's the cool thing too is you're going to be able to find it anywhere because it'll play anywhere. So definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. Watch it because it's 100 years old and it's very different than what you see and what we talk about on the show. But it is like a cornerstone of horror, right?
It is.
Yeah, and that's just.
I think it's the corner. I think you asked me, it's the cornerstone of horror. There were other horror movies before this, but I think this is kind of right in between early film to before film started to get more modern and having the soundies and things like that. This kind of set place at the end of that era. I guess the middle towards the end of that era where it just had a certain feel about it, man. The tenseness of the music, the scenes, the slow scene, the slow moving, scary scenes. Dude, this is always will remain one of my top movies. And most people don't understand why until they actually watch it all the way through. Yeah,
you got to watch it. And then now you've had your chance to explain. That's good. So we always, everything we do on the show is so modern, but I'm glad we got to touch on something so old like this. You got to start with the stuff at the beginning. You got to include that, because without that, we don't get to where we are with the rest of this stuff. This isn't just
absolutely.
So that's very cool.
I will say this as going towards the end of this is that I do have one critique I do have about this movie is that the ending was so anticlimactic to me. It ended kind of short. It suddenly just ended.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I think the other part is I think they spent so much time on his balls turned into the Renfield character, and they spent so much time capturing that to me didn't add any weight to the overall movie.
Okay.
Because even in most Dracula movies, Renfield doesn't get that much airplay.
He got a lot of screen time in the Coppola. He gets a lot.
The Coppola he does, but Coppola was a long movie. That was definitely a long. Everybody got fleshed out.
That's true.
This one is like it didn't really do much for me to really flesh out his. It didn't even really flesh out the character. They were just chasing him across town and all this other stuff, and he got out and you gotta
have characters that something is relatable to, right? So
yeah. So I think they should have saved more time to make the ending a little more suspenseful. With everything else being these long, drawn out horror scenes, this last scene was like he goes to the window.
The sun goes up and he's dead. Right.
Boof. Done.
Yeah. And now there's a little smoke at the right. Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe stage stuff comes into play that was so prevalent too, but I don't know.
Yeah. But other than that though,
it can't be
love it, man.
So here's the last thought.
Yeah.
Robert Eggers, who directed The Witch, which we love on this program, and did The Northman and what's the one? The Lighthouse, which was just weird.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
So they have wrapped production and they have redone and they have finished their Nosferatu remake. I have not seen any trailers. I don't know anything about it yet. I'm pretty sure the production is over. How do we feel? How do we feel about this?
So
I don't know.
Part of the allure is that it was a silent movie.
That's right.
So, and
I don't even know if it is, if they shot it this way. I don't even know.
Because the thing is, I think if you capture too much dialogue, it may take away. Because then without the dialogue, you're not digging into the character, but you're not digging deep into their personalities. A person's voice expresses personality, how they emote when they talk, expresses a lot. And in silent movies, it's over exaggerated, just expressions. So you really don't know how this person sounds and things like that. So I'm curious to see how they did that. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it because obviously he's a creative filmmaker. I'm just curious to see how that impact between the two, and there's room to make a remake.
I think he is the right person for this as well because he's very experimental with stuff. The time period stuff he did with The Witch was just so unbelievable. So I think that he's a good fit for this. So I'm definitely interested, and I definitely want to see how this goes. I just don't have much info. I think that's done. I think the production is finished. So I don't know. We're gonna see what happens, right?
I'm curious, man. I'm curious. When it happens, I'll let you. If I find out something for you, I'll let you know.
Please, and listeners do the same. All right. Well, Bill, thank you for letting you talk about one of your favorites, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one that I don't get to dig into enough, which is good. So one more time, everyone knows, where can people find you though to find out more about what you're doing?
Bass Player BV on Instagram, and everything else shoots out from there. Hit me up, and I'm always around here. So, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm very curious. I'm not an expert at any of this stuff. I'm an expert at production, but not expert at movies.
That makes you an expert on this topic. So that's okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Because you like it.
I love it, man. I love it, and I love researching this stuff. So, if you find some more answers about this film, please let me know if I said something that wasn't in context or correct. Please put it in the statements, man. Help correct me.
And everyone do the same, of course, for us. You guys know the deal. Love us, like us, send us messages, tell us more things about vampires. What did we say wrong? What more vampire things should we talk about? what old silent films should we talk about, right? I'm happy to do more of them for you.
Exactly.
Let us know. We love you guys. And until next episode, you do you.
That's all you know.
The Scary Movie Project podcast. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.